Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this week's video, we are going to take a little dip into the FM synthesis pool and try and create, closely create the bass sound from the new Chase and Status track, Baddadan, and it sounds like this. So let's get into it. First up, we are going to want to initialize the patch. And then we are going to include oscillator 1, 2, and 3 for this. So let's get some volumes going. We'll go full volume on 1, 2 is going to be full, and then 3 is going to be set to around 80. Let's see how that sounds. It's very basic at the moment. And we are also going to change them all to sine wave. So if you're listening on an iOS device, you might not hear that coming all the way through, but we'll get there in the end. Next up, we are going to look at the mod matrix. Let's head over to mod, and then we're going to change the destination. So we're going to send oscillator 3 to modulate oscillator 1. So let's flick through. We got FM 1 into 2, and we want 3 into 1. So 3 into 1. Now if I turn down oscillator 2, and then we're going to start to increase the depth of the FM, you'll start to hear that sound and we can start to shape what's going on. Slowly getting there. You can hear it starting to work now. And there we go. There it is, full. And that's the full depth that we're allowed. And then this is oscillator 3 going into 1. We want to change the voicing for the synth. We want it set to mono. Let's go back to the patch. Now for oscillator 3, we want to pitch it up. So, and we also want to change the course. We're going up 1 perfect fifth. From here, we can add in oscillator 2 again. And then let's pitch that one up to 2 feet. Kind of give us a bit more of an overtone, especially when we start to add the overdrive and distortion. It will add a little bit more in the higher end. That is about it for the oscillators. Let's start to move onto the amp envelope, the mod envelope, and the envelope depth with the filter. To start off, let's get the amp envelope, which is effectively the volume of the synth. So go about 40, we're going to go 76, we're going to go about 66 on the sustain, and then 41 on the release. Now for the mod envelope, let's pull down the filter and add some depth, and then we'll be able to hear this envelope working on this filter. So let's go down to 55. And then for the envelope depth, that's the amount of this envelope that is going to affect the filter. We're going to go up to 47. If I bring all these down and just put up the decay a little bit, you can hear it's very clicky because there's no attack, and then you get the decay and there's no sustain and release. So we want that filter to go whoop, whoop, whoop as it goes. So let's pull up this to 38. Pull down the decay to 60. We want those notes to hold on for a little bit, so we're going to go about 62, and then the release, we're going to set it at 40. Resonance of the filter, let's bring that up to 22, just to add a little bit more, and it tends to take away a little bit of the bass as well. Next up is where we're going to get the majority of the sound, and it's from the overdrive and distortion. So overdrive, I got it all the way to 0, and then as I increase it, start to get, you can hear it starts to get going there. And then the distortion, starting to get a little bit meaner now. We're going to go 97 and we go full on the overdrive. To make the sound a little bit wider, we have the we have the chorus. So just add a little bit of chorus in there. We're going 30. The rate is pretty low. And we're set to number 2 on the type there. Now this gets us in the ballpark and it sounds okay. It's more just to show the technique of the FM. So some other bits that I added on, as you can see on the screen, an EQ, some compression, a filter, and then the decapitator from Sound Toys. Now, it's still not getting the exact sound from Chase and Status because they've been doing this for a long, long time. Wanted to show more of the technique and being able to use FM and some other bits and pieces on the peak. But here are the additions that I made after the fact, and they're the ones that you hear in the intro at the start of the track. So the EQ, I just took off a little bit of that low end because we have the sub already in there. So not too much, but when you sort of, you can see we've got a little bit there, but we're taking that out there. Next up, I got the compressor, and I'm slamming this pretty hard. It's 20-to-1 ratio. And I have the soft distortion on there as well. After that, I have the auto filter. And we've got a little bit of the filter here with the envelope. And again, I'm adding a little bit of post distortion. You can hear it just adds a little bit more oomph. And then lastly, we've got the decapitator adding a little bit more distortion. And I pulled down the tone here. So we're up here, but it was a little bit too bright. So we just pulled down the tone a little bit to get us sort of more in the ballpark of the reference track. Again, I'm sure there's people absolutely turning over, ready to hammer in the comment section. I did my best. I couldn't quite get all of those tones, but again, I just wanted to show sort of the technique with the FM and whatnot. If you're using plugins, there's a couple of really great tutorials out there showing how to do it on Serum, but we don't have all the options of Serum, so I just wanted to show it on the hardware. As you know, on this channel, we do a lot of stuff on hardware. So, hopefully that's showed you a little bit of FM and how to get to that using the mod matrix and whatnot. Also, just a little bit more showing the mod envelopes and how that affects the filter, and then how we can use the synth a little bit different from just using a couple of saw waves and sort of getting that sound. At the end of the day, hopefully above all, I've inspired you to create something. And until next time, see you later.